Hey everyone, Sumo Spiffy here. We're less than 2 weeks out from the May 2024 Basho, which means the Banzuke's out, which means it's time to break that Banzuke down. Let's check these rankings out, see what makes sense, and more importantly, see what doesn't. As always, we've got our Guess the Banzuke entry here, and how it lined up with the actual Banzuke on the right. Correct guesses are in white, yellow means the right rank but the wrong side, orange means off by one number up or down, and red is off by 2 or more ranks. We got plenty to discuss, but let's start at the top. Terunofuji, Yokozuna. Is anyone going to join him anytime soon? Probably not. Hoshoryu, as I've said before, he's very good, but he just doesn't seem to have what it takes to win Yushos routinely enough to expect him to get 2 in a row anytime soon. Takakeisho, completely destroyed physically. Kirishima, who knows what's up with him physically. Kotonowaka is the only one who looks like he can even pretend to be healthy, but he's still got to win 2 in a row, and when is he going to win the first one? I don't know. The Ozeki are lined up in order of wins last time. Hoshoryu had his 11, Kotonowaka had 10, Takakeisho 8, Kirishima is now Kadoban with his 5 wins, so he's got to get a winning record this time or he's going to drop to Sekiwake. Wakamoto Haru, Abi, Asanoyama, Onosato, those guys all fit in exactly where they were supposed to. Now with Guess the Banzuke, some people thought Daisho was going to get bumped over to Maegashira 1 East. It wasn't impossible, it wasn't like a really dumb guess, but it was unlikely and it didn't happen. Atami Fuji, he gets the 1 East slot. Daisho, he does only get bumped down to 1 West. Hiranoumi, Gonoyama, and Takayasu, that trio that was tied, they go from 2 East to 3 East. Now here, I have to make a little bit of a sad face. I went with one of the 2 logical methods. One would have been rank over record, which is what they did, and the other one is record over rank, which is what I did. In retrospect, it seems sort of obvious that they would go with the better rank instead of the better record, because Hiranoumi was not in the Joi, but at the edge of the Joi. By the way, if you forget or if you didn't know the Joi, Joi, we'll write that down. That is the top 16 guys. So Hiranoumi was Maegashira 4 West, so he was number 17. But once Terunofuji stopped fighting, he became number 16, which means he fights the guys at the top of Sanyaku. And sometimes they put some stock into that as a reason to rank guys higher, but they don't always. And the last few Banzukes, it looks like they hadn't. That was the biggest reason why I didn't put Hiranoumi further up. Under normal circumstances, like if you look back in the past, generally speaking, I would expect Hiranoumi, because he was further up and close enough to get Sanyaku matchups, I would have expected him to get the preference that he got this time, going ahead of the other 2 guys. But because they haven't been doing it, I didn't think that's what would happen, so I got it wrong. So this is actually perfectly logical. That's fine. Hiranoumi in front here makes sense. It's just a question of tendency, or if you prefer, consistency. They have not been consistent with showing this prioritization, especially to the extent that they did so on this Banzuke, but let's go on because we're going to see other examples of this. Tobizaru, he only got his half rank, so he had to go there. Oho and Ura were in the order that I thought they were going to be. They could have been flip-flopped, but fortunately we got that one right. Takeru Fuji, pretty proud about that one, nailed that. Now, did they have to put him there? Of course not. They could have, as I mentioned in the Guess the Banzuke video, they could have put him at Maegashira 5 West at the very least without much of an issue at all. I didn't think they would bump down Onosho because Onosho had that winning record, but if they didn't care about that and they didn't care about super over-demoting either Oho or Ura, they could have put him up to Maegashira 4. There were some people who guessed that, and it's not illogical, like it's not completely out of left field. But for anybody who thought he was going to go higher than Maegashira 4, there's something to keep in mind. The only reason to over-promote him so significantly, especially when you have to really screw over some other guys to do it, is to say, okay, this guy is the hot young thing, this guy is the one that we expect big things of, so let's give him some real tests right now. But why would they do that? It's not in their interests to put him up against the Sanyaku in its full glory right away. Like Onosato last time. Now, Onosato, as we saw, he did fine against the Sanyaku, but there was no way to know for sure that was going to happen. so setting him just outside the Joi at a rank where he wasn't gonna have to fight those Sanyaku guys unless he did really well and earned those matchups was a way to sort of protect him and let him build up a really good record and keep the hype train going. Takeru Fuji at Maegashira 6 does the same thing. He's in a perfect position to run through all the guys around him, do something similar to Onosato last time, build up like an 8-1 record, something really, really good, then take those big matchups and see if he can repeat the performance of last Basho. It makes absolute sense for them to leave him at Maegashira 6. If he's the guy they think he's gonna be, this is gonna be a springboard, not a leash. This is a good thing for him. That's why it wasn't really realistic for them to push him, I'd say above Maegashira 5, but definitely above Maegashira 4. Now let's get to two other points of Joi preference, Nishikigi and Takano Sho. So Nishikigi was a Komusubi, he went 3-12. Last Basho, Takayasu got bumped basically all the way back to where when you do the math and line everybody up, he landed basically where he was supposed to go. He got bumped up a half rank ahead of Hokuto Fuji, but that was kind of meaningless. He didn't get any more of an advantage than that. That's why I figured Nishikigi was gonna get set back to Maegashira 9 or so. The math put him at 9 West. I didn't see any reason for them to bump him up further, but they did. They put him at 7 East. So that means he's off. It means Matakayumi, okay, we sort of got him at correct on Maegashira 7, but we got the wrong side. Takano Sho, we lucked into getting correct. I'll get to that in a second. But then Kota Shoho and Tamawashi ended up being off because Nishikigi got pushed up. Now let's look at Takano Sho. He was 5-10. So for the most part, they've been going record over rank. And in this case, they did put Kota Shoho above Tamawashi. But then Takano Sho, with the worst record of the three, even though they were all tied, ends up above Kota Shoho. The only reason to do that is if you are showing preference to the fact Takano Sho was in the Joi. He had those Sanyaku matchups. As I said before, this is not something they've been doing with any consistency lately, but they definitely did it this time. Are they going to do it next Basho? I don't know. Maybe. Will they do it next Basho, but then not in September? Quite possibly. So it's kind of a crapshoot whether or not guys are going to get shown this kind of preference if they're in the Sanyaku, if they're in the Joi, when they get demoted in the future. But I wonder if the fact that none of these guys had any Kyujo matchups helped them out. Because, like Asanoyama, a couple tournaments ago, he missed a bunch of matches and he got dropped pretty far. Takayasu was Kyujo for most of the tournament, where he got dropped and didn't get any real benefit of his rank. But Nishikigi was just a straight 3-12. He showed up every day. Takano Sho, 5-10. He showed up every day. And they get these little boosts. Plus, if you look at the bottom, and I grant that Tsurugisho was not in the Joi, he was Maegashira 6, but he was 2-3-10, so 2-13, 11 rank drop. But it used to be that guys who were Kyujo, if anything, they got saved a little bit because they weren't able to fight. Now, he's the guy that actually ate the full demotion, whereas guys who showed up every day got a little bit of their rank saved. It's something to pay attention to. I don't know if we're going to be able to see any kind of real tendency in that direction, but at least recently, with a non-scientific sample size, I think you could make the argument that it's something to watch out for as a possibility in the future, maybe at least enough to, on the next Banzuke, take it into consideration when you're deciding how far to move guys. After that, we've got Shodai, Shonen Umi. Now, Kinbozan was 6-7-2, so he did have those couple of Kyujo matches, but if they're going to take that into account, I don't think only missing 2 fights is going to matter that much. Plus, Kinbozan really didn't have anywhere else to go. They didn't push him down, he just landed here. Then we've got 11-13, we've got Sada no Umi, Hokuto Fuji, Ichi, Nishiki Fuji, Mitoryu, Chur no Umi, and see, it's a good thing I didn't flip Chur no Umi and Oshoma because I would have been super wrong. One thing I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the Guess the Banzuke video is that Ryuden and Oshoma could be flip-flop from what I guessed. I thought Oshoma would be on the east and Ryuden on the west. The main reason I thought this was because Ryuden on the west would only have gone down 1.5 ranks. That's a pretty good under-demotion. But they under-demoted him even more, which is another small reason why I'm wondering if the Kyujo thing matters. They did not have to be this nice to Ryuden. Now maybe they just really don't like Oshoma, I don't know. But Ryuden fought the full 15. Did that play into it? I mean, that seems a little too speculative. Honestly, if it's just about opinions on people, I think it really would be more that Oshoma's a pain in the ass for them because he's picked up such bad headlines. But in any case, Ryuden and Oshoma were at Maegashira 14, we got him flip-flopped. If you had him the right way around, you were probably in the minority, so well done, good guess. And then for the bottom, I don't know what the hell they're doing here. The Tsurugisho thing is really what screwed everything up. So Roga, he landed exactly where he could. He was 7 and 8 and Maegashira 15, he didn't move, there really wasn't another spot for him to go. It didn't make sense for them to push him down further, and they didn't. They left him where he was. That's very reasonable. Toki Hayate, Tomokaze, and Takara Fuji are 1, 2, 3, and I had them in that order. 1, 2, 3, right? Well, that was a terrible 3, but you know what I'm saying. The only reason they're moved is because the committee pushed Tsurugisho all the way to the bottom. I don't get this at all. I can make sense of every other decision that they've made. Even with the Joi preference that they are inconsistent with, at least we've seen it happen before, we know what it looks like, this is what it looks like. But why do this to Tsurugisho? What was the point of this? There's no reason to dumpster the guy like this. I take that back actually, there is a reason. It's let's get him out of the division. Let's get rid of him. If he doesn't heal enough to get a winning record, he's gone and good riddance. That's why you do this. And maybe that's exactly what they want. Maybe they're like, he's broken, we don't need him hanging around in the top division. Like Tomokaze is a better option? He's got one working foot. I don't mean that figuratively either. His other foot, the one in the boot, is freaking paralyzed. If Tsurugisho can come back from the kind of knee injury he just suffered and even go 7 and 8, he deserves to stay in the division. He should be in a position, now I'm just ranting, but whatever. He should be in a position where he can save himself without having to get a winning record. 7 wins should be enough to keep him in the division. That's what I'm saying. That's what he's earned. I think he has earned that, and it's crap that they're not giving it to him. But, you know, that's the Banzuke, right? It wouldn't be fun if you could see everything coming. In any case, we pretty much nailed the bottom section with one flip-flop and one missed pick. It's just that that one missed pick shoved a bunch of other guys around and made everything look terrible. So by and large, this was a Banzuke prediction to be proud of. It's not going to win Guess the Banzuke, maybe top 10% if I'm lucky. Top 20% I think we should be able to do, which is going to be like 45 people. We should definitely be able to finish in the top 45. But really, like, I am less upset or disappointed or frustrated or anything with my picks than I am for Tsurugisho getting treated this way. It's kinda garbage. Anyway, that's the Banzuke breakdown. What did you think of where everyone ended up? Let me know in the comments. Other than that, as always, in the couple weeks leading up to the Basho, we're gonna have some more videos coming out, so look out for those. I'm gonna go work on them. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.